vigilance, the action or state of keeping careful watch, standing guard, defending the bulwark between the righteous and the godless. My next guest is Representative Heather Scott from District 1, I believe, way up in the northern end of the state. Welcome, Heather.
Thanks for having me on, Lance.
Hey, Heather, I'm really glad to have you here. And I want to give you an opportunity to express some of your thoughts and concerns regarding the Syrian refugee crisis. But first, if I could, I would like to just give a little quick background. You know, we are a nation horribly divided. This whole left-right paradigm is such a bunch of nonsense and so destructive. But we are divided, and the Syrian refugee conflict has been a perfect case in point. On one side, we have people that are talking about the humanitarian need, and no doubt there is a humanitarian need. There's no doubt that families have been displaced, and many of them are innocent. But on the flip side, there is the concerns over national security. And so I would like to contrast those two a little bit, if we can, and see if we can find some answers. Freedom is not free, but I can help. I offer a set of fundraisers that include advanced firearms training, defensive law seminars, constitution workshops with a focus on the local solution. Now, why the local solution? It's simple. Government of, for, and by the people must always be close to the people. Hey, give me a call, 208-317-9843. Let's talk freedom. Heather, recently you called for an emergency session of the Idaho State Legislature to discuss these issues. Can you tell us why you called that session?
So you have to remember, Lance, the media likes to sell paper. They like to create controversy.
Of course.
And I did not call for a session.
Okay.
As they continue to repeat over and over. Anyone can go who received my newsletter knows. I encourage the citizens. Only Governor Otter can call a special session. Citizens want their legislator to do something. We can't call ourselves into session. So they need to direct their executive department. Governor Otter is the only one that can call us into a special session.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of twisting of words by the media, which they struggle to get it right a lot. And, you know, back to what you were saying, they like to show that people are really divided. But are we really divided? I'm not so sure. I think most citizens would agree we want to protect Idaho citizens, Idaho economy, Idaho jobs. We want people properly vetted before we bring them into our communities. And so, although the media appears to make it seem like this big fight, anti-refugee, pro-refugee, I do believe most Idaho citizens are on the same page.
You know, actually, Heather, I think that you're right. I believe that we all want the same thing. And I also believe that all Idahoans are very generous. And if people are suffering and if they are victims, then we want to assist. But we need to do it with a lot of wisdom and very carefully. One of the biggest problems we have is out of the Obama administration, there is so much effort and so much emphasis to divide the people. And what I'd like to do is share a couple of quotes from a couple of these different people and see if we can sort out, see if there's any way for the American people to know the truth. FBI Director James Comey just recently said, "We can only query against that which we have collected. And so if someone has never made a ripple in the pond in Syria in a way that would get their identity or their interest reflected on our database, we can query our database until the cows come home, but there will be nothing will show up because we have no record of them." And so we have this from the director of the FBI saying that we can't vet these people because we have no record of them. And yet we have the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, who came out just days ago, and she named the FBI specifically, stating that the FBI has all of these great records and that we can go to their databases and we can vet these people. This is a large reason for any division that we have in the country, because we can't get the straight story from our own government. One other thing I'll just point out real quick is Governor, I believe his name is Scott. Governor Scott from Florida went to the federal government, and all he wanted was to know how people coming to Florida would be vetted, and then to get some information about those people. And he was refused on both counts. And I would guess that this is some of the concern you have. Is that correct?
Well, here's the deal, Lance. Americans in general and Idahoans, we're not stupid. There appears to be a political agenda here by the Obama administration, and it kind of leans towards tyranny. We all see the news. You can see exactly what's going on in Europe. We see the pictures of the refugees coming in. It's not orphan women and children. It's men. Men age, maybe 18 to 25, built pretty good. Looks like they've been working out a bit.
Fighting age
we're
men.
Not stupid.
Sure.
Yeah, we're not stupid. And we're concerned about the safety of Idaho citizens. The fact that the refugees are selected by the United Nations, that's the first place I may have a little concern. And working with the State Department, they're bypassing state legislators, and they're going directly to local NGOs to place these refugees in communities with very little accountability.
Okay, when you say NGO, what is an NGO?
A non-governmental agencies. They're coming through the churches. Churches are getting paid millions. The numbers are all on the internet. I don't have them in front of me, but that's how they're coming into communities.
Well, I know the community college in Twin Falls stands to reap millions of dollars for their efforts. And one of the things that is Heather, here's the deal. My great grandfather was literally a Danish bastard. He was born illegitimate in Denmark at a time when illegitimate children paid a terrible price for the sins of their parents. So he was raised in an orphanage and hated. And at 17, he found a steamer that would let him work his way across the United States. He came. He couldn't speak the language. He had no money. He wanted more than anything in the world to be an American in the truest sense of the word, and he didn't ask anyone to pay his freight. And that is what immigration in America has always been. And my family's story isn't unique. You're not Native American as far as I know, so your family probably has a similar story. And those people that come and truly want to come and come on their own and make their own way and not rely on our welfare system, and they're welcome here. But to be assigned by the United Nations and then by our government is scary to me. So,
okay, sorry. Go
that's
ahead.
okay. No, go. No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a German immigrant that is my main helper on my campaign, and she's wonderful, and she loves our country, and she came to this country because she loves the freedoms we have. I have no problem with people legally immigrating into our country if they want to assimilate into our culture and respect and follow our Constitution and our laws. But based on what we're seeing in Europe with these refugees, it is not the goal of the majority of these refugees. We see the chanting, no law but Sharia. There are alternative reasons why people want to come here. And we just need to vet these people before we let them in mass.
We do. I actually, and the reason I brought up my grandfather is I don't think that we should let any of them in mass, and we certainly shouldn't sponsor them. If they want to come, let them figure it out. We're here. Our doors are open. But I agree with what you said, and one of the concerns that I have, and I have asked this of several people, is I have said, well, and let me preface this. This is a difficult thing because we have a First Amendment that guarantees a right to religion. But we have, you look around the world, and I have challenged anyone to show me an area, a region, a nation that is composed of majority of Muslims where there are not serious issues with human rights and that sort of thing. And I have not been able to find one. And so there is, I believe, an agenda. And this is the concern. And like I said, it's a hard thing to say because I believe that they have a right to their religion, but not when their religion calls for the death of everyone who is of my faith.
Not their religion. Yeah. Well, it's religious extremism. Sharia law is religious extremism, and we need to call it like it is. When you want to behead someone because they won't convert to your religion, that's not what America is all about. America is about you can be atheist, you can be Christian, you can be Buddhist. It doesn't matter. And you don't see Buddhists or Christians beheading people because they will not convert to Buddhism or Hinduism or what have you. So, I've heard it before, tolerance for all but the intolerant. And it is a religion of intolerance.
Heather, actually, what I believe is I have compared it to other religions, and I don't think it holds up, but I have compared it to fascist states, Hitler being one, and they fall right in line. I believe that we need to stop calling it a religion and start calling those who are extremists fascists, because that is exactly and precisely what I believe them to be. So,
well,
go ahead.
Islam is a real religion, and they have a real Quran that tells them exactly what their mission and goal is, and so it is a real religion.
Well, but it is a religion based on all of the principles of horrible fascism, and mm-hmm. that is the concern. And if they will or are willing to live peacefully among us, that's a good thing. Heather, our time is just about up, but I'd like to shift gears just a little bit, and that is there's a huge tug of war going on right now between the federal governments and the federal government and the various states. The federal government says we have total and absolute control, and the final decision is ours because of a number of laws that have been passed by Congress in the past. And when I have asked many people if they would to please show me the constitutional clause that authorizes the federal government any authority over immigration, and none can answer that. And the point that I would like to make is, if immigration is not identified an authority given in the Constitution, then that authority falls to the states or the people according to the 10th Amendment. And if that falls to the states or the people, then that, Heather, falls right on your shoulders. And I'm curious to know, first of all, if you interpret the law the same way, and secondly, what can we do to put power back where it belongs?
So I don't see it as one of the enumerated powers of the federal government. Unfortunately, you need an executive branch in your state that will start acting like a sovereign state instead of being addicted to federal money. And this all comes down to money. I just read an article this morning that, Obama's written a letter back to all these states that have said they have concerns about the refugee. And it comes down to money. We're going to stop the flow of money. You need states to stand up and say, we don't care about the money. We care about the protection of Idaho citizens, and we will stand firm as a sovereign state. Some states have no problem doing this. Just look at Washington standing up to the marijuana laws. Look at Colorado standing up to them. We can stand up to this. We do need to get out of this Wilson Fish agreement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've done some research on that. That can be done. We just need to do it. And the legislature can't do anything until we're in session or we're called to session. You just can't create law when you're not in session.
Sure.
You can't do that.
Sure. Well, Heather, honestly, what I believe is that we're a little bit lost. In fact, you look back at the history of our state and the biggest issues, Common Core, Obamacare, all of it came down to money, money, money for the state. And in the case of Common Core, Butch Otter signed off on it even before he read it because money was promised, and that is a terrific problem. I appreciate, Heather, that you continue to fight. Know that there are people standing behind you, and whatever we need to do, we want to do, and we are, I think, building momentum.
Well, I'd just like to leave you with a few last words.
Sure.
Citizens just need to start recognizing all power is inherent in the people, and you can't wield that power if you don't know you have it, and you have all of it, and our Constitution states it. So just start understanding the power you do have as a citizen and start exercising it, because right now we're allowing government to run top down. We treat the federal government like a parent, and that's not the way our country was designed. It's bottom up, and we need to start acting like people with power and directing elected officials to what we wish from the people. So that's what I encourage everyone to do. And how you do that, there's lots of different ways to do that. So
there are. Heather, in closing, I wonder if you remember the first thing you said to me when we first met in your office in Boise a year and a half ago or whatever it was, a year ago maybe.
I don't.
Heather, you said
that was a long time ago.
I know. But the thing is, it stuck with me, and basically, this is what you told me, and this is what the people need to understand. You told me that you are the pit bull, and that I am the master, that I have the leash, and you wear the collar, and this is how government is supposed to be. You are respected and appreciated, but the simple truth of the matter is, if government is working right, you look to people like me, and more specifically to those people in your district, for the direction that you should travel. And I have never forgotten that. I want you to know that I have shared it. Every time I talk to people about Heather Scott, I share that conversation with them, because it means an awful lot to me, and I think it means a lot to the people. In closing, I would like to say, though, that I believe that the issue of immigration is neither a state or a federal issue, because the states are primarily tasked to preserve and protect the rights of the people, not the rights of immigrants. And that if we are to bring immigrants here, that they should come in the fashion that your German friend came, that my Danish grandfather came, that they should come in that fashion. And if we are to support them, then it must be at the people level, because it's not government's business at all. And so if churches and communities and individuals want to find and bring people here, this is where this belongs. And if we did this, we would find that we're not bringing them here and handing them everything, but we are saying, if you want to come, here's a few people that would assist. We would get good people, we would get good Americans if we went back to those principles. Heather, in closing, is there anything I missed that you would like to say?
You've done a good job covering all the bases. So just reach out to your elected officials and direct them what you want to see happen, because they work for you.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it very much. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go. That's Heather Scott, I'm Lance Earl. I'll see you soon.